Oh, man.
Yeah,
What an introduction. Thank you, John.
John.
Good morning, everyone. We are Lift in Color. My name is Joseph Young.
My name is Brendan Taylor.
Today, we're going to talk about 2019, new year. Everybody knows at the beginning of every single year that goals got to be set out, goals got to be laid out. Brendan and I are going to talk a little bit about our goals, what we have coming up for the year of 2019, and then talk about goal setting and sticking with your goals, sticking with the program, staying on track. So let's get it going. Mm-hmm. So, Brendan, tell us about 2019, right? You got a bunch of stuff coming up this year.
Yeah, 2019 coming up. We're going to do the USAPL Illinois State Meet April 27th. So that's the next meet. I'm competing there. Our camera guy, John, is competing there, even though I haven't seen his workout feedback. But
John Bahena, everybody, in case you don't
the
know.
entire Hell House crew, me, Jason, Jermaine, Israel, a couple other people. I'm anticipating Lewis. So we're doing that. That's the next biggest thing coming up. Also got a couple lifters. One kid by the name of Berto that's going to do a USAPL meet in Chicago. Then a week after that, I got another lifter by the name of Tomas. He's going to do an APF Illinois State meet in March.
Tomas, stick with your program, man. I know you always want to try to get hypertrophy in there, man. Stick with the program.
He's doing good. I think I just got to feed him.
Right, no doubt.
Coming up, that's so yeah, me personally with that, with Greatest Strength right now, I'm just trying to do a lot more meet day coaching coming up. Just discovered after doing calling his meet, I'm liking that more and more. Calling numbers on a day, it's a stressful as fuck, but yeah, trying to do more than that. With the state meet, I'm gonna kind of get my LeBron on, coach and lift at the same time. So we're going to see how that, probably going to try to film and document that experience of walking both dogs in the same meet. Game planning for that. I'll have help with Jason, of course. But, yeah, just definitely kind of got to feel and just see, interested from the mental standpoint,
no doubt,
how that works.
Side note, as you just said, walking the dogs at the same meet, it made me think of, do you remember in the 90s and like maybe early 2000s when yo-yos were really popular and everybody had like the you know what I mean, they had that, there was that move where you would put it on the floor and you'd be walking the dog. My bad, if y'all were into yo-yos, man, you know what I'm talking about.
I remember they got sold at school. You're doing down there.
You get in trouble with so many yo-yos, man. Riding the cradle or whatever it was, right? Man. No doubt. Okay, sounds good. So you got more handling coming up, you got your own competition coming up. You know, what's that balance like for you? I mean, obviously you're gonna get more of that experience once you're in the meet, but in terms of like, you know, your own training plus training other people, coaching other people, what's that like for you?
So right now I actually, as far as training myself, I actually offloaded that duty. I'm doing Chad Wesley Smith's AI programming right now, so I don't have to worry about myself right now. So I'm not sitting up there stressing over my own programming. So that's one thing I did, just put that in somebody else's hands.
Gotcha.
So then I can pretty much just focus on my lifters in particular. Like just over time, I just learned and developed the workflow now and then how to just basically, just program for other people.
Right.
With experience, I kind of know more and more what works, what doesn't work, according to like the individual lifter. Like some things it's a little trial and error, like John's bench right now that we can't figure out.
Playing with it, right?
Yeah, so that's the so just learning that. But just pretty much right now it's not as stressful. As we get closer to the meet, it's just getting each lifter to trust the process at this point.
Sure.
They're going to hit like those volume and intensity blocks that, okay, you're not going to feel strong and it's not supposed to make you feel strong right now.
Well, and that's the huge part of any program, right? Is trusting the process, because in the beginning you might not see the results that you're looking for, but over time, once you stick to it, you do what you need to be doing, you're, kind of crossing your T's, dotting your I's, you'll get to that point. No doubt. So the state meet, that's on April 27th. Where is that going to be at again?
That's going to be in Bloomington, Illinois. Okay. So if you are familiar with Illinois State University, Illinois Westland, Mitsubishi plant, State Farm, in that area, Central Illinois, which I think is a great location. It's going to be at Bloomington Barbell. It's the name of the location.
Okay.
So it's dead smack in the center, so everybody in the state can get to it. So I think it's going to be highly competitive.
As Lifting Color, we're going to be there, man. We're going to be talking with folks, talking with competitors, trying to get, the latest word on what's going on at that competition. So that'll be exciting for us to be there, talking with people. And, of course, you'll be competing and whatnot. So
right, yeah. So the good part, I'm on because I'm a heavier weight class, mostly everybody else will be ahead of me. So
gotcha.
It can help or it can hurt me. So I've already handled people. So like each flight going in. So the 600-pound squat goal is that's the main thing I'm going for there personally, and then make sure I re-qualify for nationals. So
absolutely. So then, if you do qualify for nationals, when's that going to be?
That's going to be in Lombard. I think my exact lifting day is going to be October 15th.
Okay.
At 1:00. That's way down the line. So
right.
It'll probably be another meet I do in between that. Haven't decided what that meet is going to be, but definitely something to warm me up and then roll into it. So
right, absolutely. You mentioned Greater Strength, right? Your business. Do you have slots available? What do you have going on with the business?
Yeah, I actually got like 3 spots available. Particularly if there's any women that would like to compete at the state meet. I'll take male or female, but particularly looking for women right now. There's just slots on the team where if we can fill out those slots, that increases the chances of the team winning, some medals, because it's also a team trophy and it goes by what all you win. And
right, the numbers you put up overall.
Yeah, it's not the number. If they do it the way they did it the last time we did the meet, it's number of it's how many times you place, and then how high you place. So
got it.
Yeah,
so like the average of the placement.
Yeah, the average of the placement. So we're trying to if getting women at that part, that will increase our chances a lot. So because last time that played a big factor in us getting third. So
right.
Yeah, but we don't want third place medals this time.
That's true. Everybody's coming for that number 1 spot.
Right.
Absolutely.
So
okay. No doubt. And I think for both of us, right, this year in August, between the 17th and the 18th, we'll be at the Chicago Fit Expo. There, floating around the conference, floating around the expo, talking with people, interviewing people for Lifting Color. So if you all are going to be down there or planning on being down there this year, it's a little bit later in the year. It seems like it's always been like in May and June before.
Yeah, it rotates. I've seen it in August before. I've seen it in July. It just kind of rotates. I mean, it's a ton of expos and conferences in general in that convention center.
When I feel like in Chicago specifically, because it's like it's in the middle of the country. There's so many big expos and different conferences and events that come this way. Probably they're working around other dates, right?
Yeah, because you got Comic-Con, which you got the porn convention that comes through,
right? Tattoo convention, right?
Because I want to say last year I think the tattoo convention was a week before I lifted.
Yep.
At the Fit Expo last year, so. Yeah, it's a ton of stuff, and then it's just summer Chicago.
That's it, man. Summertime shy, right?
Yeah,
Everybody knows a ton of stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for me in 2019, it's really going to be, I got the ebook that's coming soon. I know that I keep saying coming soon, but I promise you all it's going to be really, really good. It's going to have, essentially, it's kind of like an onboarding program, if you will.
Okay.
So for people that are first learning how to lift, it's going to have, embedded in the files themselves. It's going to have the listed workouts, about how many sets, how many reps if you're first starting. It's going to have videos where I'm going to be instructing on another person. So you'll see that person doing the move while I'm explaining the movement as well. So it's going to be extremely comprehensive, really, really cool ebook. So please be patient with me, everybody. We got the pre-sale that's coming up here as well. We'll do an additional 10% off of that. So the rest of the details are coming soon. So just letting you all know that ebook is going to be dropping here very, very soon. I also have online programs.
Yeah, 1 second, jumping back to the
Let's jump back to it. Let's do it.
So this ebook, I know you say you got details coming. You said it was onboarding. Is it onboarded into bodybuilding per se, generally fit, or
I would say generally fit, just because you could take it in one of many directions, right? Okay. It has compound movements in there that could be, used in any type of a program.
Right.
But, because Forever Young Fitness is mostly about, it's mostly, I'm aiming towards general health and wellness.
Okay.
Right. So if people want to get into bodybuilding, they want to move into another avenue, most definitely, things will get more specific as they go along.
Okay.
But this is more of a general health and wellness program for someone who's looking, how do I improve my overall, physical fitness and health through lifting and cardio.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. So like I said, with those online programs, then it gets more specified. So if you are looking to compete, or if you are looking to, bodybuild or just kind of see what you can do with your body, in different avenues, then we, tailor a program more specifically towards you. I think this year I'm probably going to just do one competition, maybe two. For sure, I'm aiming for, since I didn't compete last year,
Right.
I'm aiming for the Titan Open. That's going to be in June. I think, for me, it's one of those things where I want to always be prepared, right? In the first competition that I did back in 2017, I think I was prepared mentally, but physically I still had a little ways to go.
Right.
I most definitely have improved in a lot of areas. So the Titan, I think, I'm definitely going to bring a better package, and, just continue pushing from there. So
sticking with men's physique.
I'm going to stick with men's physique. I might do a crossover. I might do a double for that show. Maybe do some classic as well, just to get my feet wet in that regard. I want to continue kind of, elevating towards classic. Classic is as far as I would take it.
Okay.
But, for right now, my body is much more the men's physique.
So
structure.
If you do classic, how much room you get in terms of wiggle room you got to grow into it?
That's a good question. So right now what I'm sitting at is about mid 180s, which from my height, I can be, around that weight. When I cut last time, I dropped like 20 pounds. It was crazy, man. So I'm about 10 pounds heavier right now than where I was before I cut the last time. So I think, I'll be about 10 to 15 pounds heavier or so on stage. So I'll be right in that range, actually a little light. So I could continue to grow into it. But that muscle maturity, that muscle density is just not there yet, because I just don't have the years of training in this specific way to fully fill out the, the height requirements, because the weight goes by height, right?
Right.
So I still have, 5 to 10 pounds or so that I can grow into. Yep,
Okay.
absolutely. So yeah, working on it. June 8th, and that's going to be up in Kenosha, Wisconsin. The pre-judging starts at 10 a.m. That could fluctuate a little bit as we get closer to the date as well.
It's at Parkside again.
It's going to be at UW Parkside. Yep. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to that most definitely. Of course, still have the Forever Young Fitness apparel. So you all see, I'll be rocking it in videos. Some of my friends have been posting and tagging about it. Soon to be up online on my website. That's coming as well. But we got hats. We got men's tanks, we got women's tanks, men's tees, and we got hoodies, black hoodies. So this is a quarter zip right here. This is actually a limited edition. I'm the only one that has this one right now. But we have pullover hoodies. And so, just kind of various different things coming through. Looking at actually working with a designer out of Milwaukee right now, putting some different things together. So once we kind of get aligned, I'm going to be doing a photo shoot. So I'll be looking for brand ambassadors. So if you're interested, please hit me up. Forever Young Fitness _ LLC on Instagram is where I take most of my inquiries right now, or the number 4 Ever Young Fitness IL as in Illinois at gmail.com for any inquiries right now in regards to the business.
That's cool.
So, Brandon, I know, right, you've worked with clients now for many, many years. You work with all sorts of different varieties of people. When you get into a new year and you start getting in new clientele, new folks that you're working with, what's kind of like, does your onboarding change at all? Do you keep it the same? Is there like a different inspiration that you try to give folks? Because we know, right, that a high percentage of people will start early in the year and a high percentage of people will drop out after the first 2 or 3 months.
So it depends on the client, to be honest with you. So it depends on the goal. So a power lifter, so a lot of the guys I got power lifted, we started 2019 goals back in October, November, really. So I know most of the crew, we already started hypertrophy blocks, intensity blocks. So really, you get somebody that's in the powerlifting kind of already doing it. They've already been set in motion. So yeah, so really it doesn't really change throughout the year. I'm more predicated on when the competition is, and those major comps like nationals, that doesn't change. That's middle of October every year. So if somebody's gearing up for that, we already kind of got it planned out. Switching, so when we're thinking general population clients, the typical, I want to lose weight, look better for the summer. Yeah, I think the process is gonna start a little bit different. We gotta go through more of that, the behavior change part really of it. Just just start developing good habits and everything. So that's when we gotta kind of get into more just try to get a gauge of their lifestyle. So I have to look at them, onboarding them. I have to okay, how do I make fitness fit their lifestyle? Whereas on the powerlifter side, okay, we're powerlifters. We adapt to powerlifting, whereas the reverse, we have to adapt fitness to them. So that's the difference, between the clientele I have and everything. Then also it's a lot more face-to-face personal training. So the one-on-ones and everything at the field house that I do. It's more or less that, a lot of teaching new movements and just teaching them how to squat from the basics, like bodyweight squats, goblet squats, and stuff like that.
Sure.
So,
have you found, since you started your fitness journey in powerlifting, and even when you were working with bodybuilding, have you found that it's easier if you just keep it going? I feel like what's hard for a lot of folks is when the holidays roll around, they cut it off, right? They already in their minds have said, okay, I know it's going to be bad for these 2 or 3 months, and then I'm going to try to get back to it in January, and then that's when they find it really, really hard. I know I've seen that, you know what I mean? Do you think that's a part of it, or have you seen other things that you think that's, the reason why people will drop off, so drastically in those first few months?
Like I say, I see it as case by case. I'm a single guy. I don't have kids or anything like that. So for me, during the holidays or anything, it's easy for me to keep rolling. I'm not Christmas shopping for that many people, to be blunt. So and then me, I went out of town for a week. I think what I find is people with more families, or just with work, you have the Christmas party. I think they get pulled in so many directions that even if they want to keep it up, what I found in they want to go to the gym. I know this is a person that, if not for the holidays, they would be going. But I find they get pulled in so many directions around that time period that it's just it becomes, it's basically they've picked up a second job trying to do X amount of things, especially if it's getting ready, especially if they're going out of town with the family,
Right.
I see that a lot more. I don't know. What about you? You see any?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely the case. But like I said, I feel like it's a mentality that people go into it with, that they've automatically chalked it up as a loss. You know what I mean? It's just, I know it's going to be too hard. There's going to be too much going on. This is going to be happening. That's going to be happening. Right. And it's about priorities at the end of the day. I get, with some folks, they have huge families and they're buying for a lot of people, or they're, going out, leaving, going for meals. But again, right, it depends what your priority is. The best way, and I think the easiest way, is going to be just to keep that consistency going. So, kind of restructuring, planning how you're going to do things. It's not necessarily that you're deprioritizing, your family or the holidays, but you're also prioritizing yourself.
Right.
You know what I mean? You kind of have to pay yourself in some ways, just because, if you are coming, around the holidays, you're on the other side of the holidays now, and you're digging yourself out of a deep hole. I mean, you've lost a little bit of time, right? And it's not the end of the world, right? We know that your body remembers. You can get back to the place that it was much faster than you did it the first time. But, why not do yourself that favor and do yourself that justice of just continuing it, right? And then you're going to be even better if you keep it going than rather if you stop and try to, get back to where you were before. So I think, right, just as always, we say consistency is key. If you can just keep that momentum going, you roll into the new year with a lot more momentum for sure.
Yeah, I think too, coming from the competition side of things, I think what keeps me rolling, so I know I have a date already lined up. I have to be at a certain weight, ready to go April 27th. I know I have nationals October 15th, so my dates are pretty much set up for next year. I think for somebody for the more casual gym goer and everything, I think part of it is where I got a date April 27th. Theirs is in the summer. theirs is more aesthetic goals typically.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they don't have a date to be accountable for.
Gotcha.
It's one of the reasons I think everybody should at least once compete at something, powerlifting, bodybuilding, Spartan, whatever it is. Like
Right.
just have something like a date where, because I think your mentality changes quick when, like my first physique competition, like it's like I was tied to, I think, June 5th. Won't forget it. You know, like
You know you got to be there.
yeah, I know I have to be there. Like, so I can't let the holidays, get the best of me. I can't let work, I'm already signed up, paid, and that's the thing once you make the financial commitment to it.
Right.
And I think so if you don't have a date, type of financial commitment to it, if you don't have a coach,
Right. It's easy to slip out.
it's easier to step out of bounds. Like sometimes, like part of the reason, like a coach charges a client, like part of it is so like, hey, if I charge you $200 a month, you're less likely to miss that workout or that program.
That's
or
true.
anything. So, so sometimes you have to have those commitments compared to the person that just picked up a Muscle and Fitness magazine, you spent $4 on, like, you're not committed to that.
Right.
It takes, it really takes somebody like committed, like on their own without like having a date or anything to be ready. So,
And I mean, you can get those people who can
Mhm.
do it on their own. They can be passionate. They can stick
Mhm.
with it. But you have to love what you're doing and care about what you're doing
exactly.
and be able to enjoy that process. I think that's one thing that people, we're a result-based culture, right? We've talked about this before,
Mhm.
that you want the results right now. You want them right away. And it's like you have to fall in love with the process.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like saying, you're just going to get gifted a free car. I'm sure a lot of people would like a free car.
Right.
And they would appreciate that free car. But if you have to work for it and you have to work 2-3 jobs and you're working hours on end, you know what I mean? And you're saving up the money to get that car. You know what I mean? You go pick out the car as opposed to, just being some random car given to you. You're going to appreciate that car way more.
Hell of a lot more.
And it's like that end result, man. You're going to appreciate that end result so much more after you've taken the time to ground yourself. You've been working hard at it. You've been doing what you need to do. You're going to appreciate it so much more than if you just took a pill. You know what I mean? And then you got there at the end of the day. So I think people, that's one aspect that I definitely talk with folks about is falling in love with the process.
Yeah, I think Gary Vee just talked about like that whole, or I saw like a spill on it. He was like, you got to enjoy waiting in the line, like, to get something. Like you have to enjoy like all the suck that goes into it.
Right.
Like I think relating it back to me, like I had a hypertrophy block. It was sets of tens of squats. This sucked the entire time. I think you heard me complaining about it.
Absolutely.
But it's like, okay, it's like, I know I have to go through like this, this process of, like, okay, it sucks now, you're out of it. But then like, okay, now I'm in the strength block. Now I see the benefit of it.
Right.
Like,
feeling good.
And yeah, feeling good. It was like, okay, I got a little quad action, even though, that's not the goal I was looking for, but
right.
Yeah, it's like it's a certain extent, and I think what would you say? It's a year to 2 years to really enjoy it.
Absolutely. I mean, initially it's you're learning. There's so much learning involved, and you're perfecting, and you bring yourself to a point where you become somewhat of an expert of your body in your own right, right? Because there's movements that you could be learning where you need to make a little tweak here or there, or, I was just talking with a buddy of mine, client as well, who was saying, he's trying to get his elbow positioning right, his upper body positioning right when he's benching, right? So he's tried like sliding his hands farther out on the bar and just these different things. At some point we'll sit down and we'll talk about that and meet in the gym and actually work on it. But, it's that beginning period is tough because you want to be already like, getting the gains, seeing the progression, when you reach a plateau and you're saying, I know I'm not getting my technique right. It's frustrating. So there's a lot of frustration in the beginning. Yeah. But again, think about this compared to everything else in our lives, whether it was like when we're in school, you're learning an instrument, you're playing a sport, you have to practice, right? Artists as well have to practice, right? I mean, you're not going to find, Vincent van Gogh in his early days where it's like, you know, when he was 12 years old and, you know, all of a sudden he was selling paintings for 30, 40,000. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't happen, right? It takes time to perfect the craft, right? So most definitely, but right, you're totally right. It takes a couple of years just because you have to get to that point of, you know, feeling like you know what you're doing.
Right, yeah. Because I think, like, I was just at a strength seminar in Chicago about 2 weeks ago. And the biggest line I got out of that, it was like, okay, first you got to let's take a lift, like benching, like how you were just saying. All right, you got to learn the basics of the lift. And there's like, that's probably to get it autonomously, it's going to take a year and a half to 2. And then it's like, once you learn the basics, then you got to learn how to make the lift your own. So everybody has like a little quirk they do in a lift because nobody's ever going to look the same on any given lift, especially squats.
Absolutely.
So it's and I was telling somebody like, yeah, like I've probably been lifting 10 plus years combined, like what I was doing in high school, then getting back into fitness. Like I just figured out how to get my deadlift suited towards me. And I'm like, in this, to put it in perspective, like, yeah, I have a 600-pound plus pull. Like, I didn't get it right even when I made that pull. It took injuries and some trial and error moments to, like, get that, like, where I, like, dialed in, like, that form. Then once I learned what I should be doing, and it's like, now I'm in the process of getting it where I don't have to think about it in a setup. But I'm talking 10 plus years, like.
Right.
Yeah.
Of practice and who knows how many reps, who knows how many sets, how much volume. I mean, that's tons of deadlifting, right? That it took to perfect it for you specifically.
Yeah, and then here's the thing: as you progress, as you get results, weights get heavier. Right. It's going to change the way you do form. Again, it's always like this process. Like, okay, getting to 500 and now trying to get to 600, totally other, another process and programming and like with form and technique and everything. So
absolutely,
I think Instagram culture kind of people don't see because it's short form. People don't like see the process building up,
right?
Like from the beginning. Like I think you're familiar with Marcos at the gym, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think Lift Sanchez on Instagram or something like that.
Right.
He's 16 with a 600 plus pull. So I think people look at that and like, well, he's 16. I'm in my 20s. How come I'm not?
When would his pulling?
Yeah.
Right.
So,
let's take a second there. Yeah. So, I mean, right, it's tough because on Instagram, you have these trainers, right? We talked about them before. The reason why I sigh is because, it's, dude, like these people out here who they're coaches, they're calling themselves coaches anyways, right? In reality, they're just selling like Herbalife products or something like that. And they, maybe have some fitness success themselves or health and wellness success themselves, but then they're fashioning themselves to be training other people and don't have the qualifications. And, not directly related to what you were talking about in terms of a young man who's 16 years old pulling, 500-600 pounds. But what you have to be really careful of is people see that and they think, oh, well, I should be able to do that. Right? Just with anything else on the internet. I read that and that's fact and that's truth. Or, you know what I mean? I see this and I can make it happen. I can build a big booty in 12 weeks and flat abs in 12 weeks just by using elastic bands. Like, you have to vet the information and you have to, see what the qualifications are of the person, see how long that 16-year-old might have been working on deadlift technique, with their parents or with somebody since they were 8 years old. Granted, they might not have used, heavy weight.
Right.
Right. They could have been going for years and years and years. And maybe you're older, but you just started. Right. So it's hard to know. I mean, you just can't, it's apples and oranges. You know what I mean? Everyone is so different. Like you said, you have to tailor it to your body and it takes time for you to perfect things in your own way. So I think that's just one thing that people have to be careful of, especially with, again, the instant gratification that we feel like we need to have, instant access to information, instant access to everything that we try to get nowadays.
Because I think even when I post, like, I'm more conscious now, like, okay, let's show everything. Let's show, like, okay, like I was on the bench, somebody will spot me. Let's show this part. I may not gotten this 6 rep. It didn't go well or anything like that. I think you do well. Like, okay, this is how I look right now. 6 months out. Like, I think promoting that side of it instead of making it a highlight video all the time. Because I mean, it's by nature. You don't want to show the the squat you had to bail on, or anything like that. But it's but yeah, I think you definitely just gotta just show the promote the process of
the
everything.
reality.
Yeah.
Just because, I mean, there's some of these people do it, right? They're doing keto or whatever kind of special diet, and they're shredded year round. And it's like, that's not healthy.
Yeah.
To be that low body fat percentage all the time.
Yeah, it is, especially if you're a lifter. Like, I look at people and they'll say, well, that guy's not that ripped. I was like, yeah, but that guy is, that's the off season. Like, nobody, unless you kind of got that natural genetic leanness to you where you can walk around there. Like, we're talking about somebody earlier who just naturally, like, just has the physical gifts like that, where walk around with abs, can eat pizza
literally all the time.
Yeah, and say I actually lost 2 pounds after doing it,
Right.
So but that's rare. Like, most of, like, I know going through, I was telling somebody, I was like, no, I have abs when I need to have them on stage. Like, I can't walk around like that, especially once I get in powerlifting mode. It's like, yeah, I got to eat to perform.
Well, and you need to have the weight to move the weight, right? So you need to be as dense as you can be within your weight restriction.
Right. Ass moves mass, is the same.
That's it. That's it. Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, if you look at, Hafthor Bjornsson, you look at Saviscus, you look at the top guys, Eddie Hall.
Guys.
Right? They're moving insane weight, but they're massive dudes.
Like, I think Ray Williams is 400 plus.
Right.
Like, yeah, because I remember he brought up a thing. He was like, well, if my lifts are suffering, I just check my waistline. And if that belt loop is increased, like, okay, I know I need to eat more. So it's kind of like, depending, who it is. Like, I know in powerlifting, like, everybody's like envious of like the 83 class.
Right.
Because they're jacked, they're ripped. And then they're also moving like a serious amount of weight right now.
Right.
So, but people got to understand, like, a lot of these guys, let's take Russ Wold, for example. All right, he's a D1 athlete. Absolutely. Like, that's a D1 athlete. So there's a genetic component to this.
Absolutely.
That, like, even so, like, you're a former athlete. I'm a former athlete. So it's, so you kind of, like, got to look at it just, like, really on that case by case basis.
That's true. I was just listening to some responses from Linda Murray, who was an 8-time Miss Olympia. And she was just saying, like, I was a college track star. You know what I mean? Like, I was a top level athlete. Shanique Grant right now, the women's physique Olympia. She was a star athlete. It's not that you have to be necessarily, but of course, again, it's about that longevity. It's about that time, that consistency of being fit, being well, working out. Have you watched the Titan Games at all? The Rock's
I've watched
show?
A couple of them.
Yeah, they have a couple of like the fit models and people who are like, well, this person's a nurse, but they've been competing since this time, or this guy is a concrete lifter because he works in construction and he does this. I mean, when you have that adaptation over time, your body can then transition a little easier. Not to say that if you haven't been an athlete, you can't make it happen. Because I've seen people that like didn't play competitive sports, but they have great physiques. But it just, again, you're kind of been shaping, molding for time, and that level of commitment, that mentality, that work ethic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It all works towards that.
Yeah, because I was telling you, it's not that they can't get as strong as the guys. Like, their timeline just may be different.
Right.
Like, I think, listen to other Pat, like Ben Rice, it was like, okay, he's 27, he's younger than me. Now, he can move a serious amount of weight, but he's like, I've been powerlifting since I was 13. This is a 15-year process to get to an 800-pound deadlift, 700-pound squat, So it's, but lacks in the bench because of injury. So, you're seeing, so like he had to build that back up. So his bench is on a different timeline compared to his competition.
Absolutely.
So people got like, your timeline just might be different. It sucks.
Right.
Like some people, like for me, lifting came kind of natural. Like I never had dramatic form and technique issues squatting, benching, and deadlift. It was just like coach pointed me to it, gave me a little demonstration.
And you're coachable.
Yeah, it was just like an easy like transition. I'm like, some people like, okay, all right, you may not jump down and just be able to grab the bar day one for a multitude of reasons.
Right.
So we might find out you're actually a sumo puller and not a conventional puller. You
Right.
know, so
Which way do you feel it more? Which way do you
yeah,
like it
so
more?
your timeline, all right, your timeline just changed. Now you might not get the hang of it for 4 weeks. There's
Right.
nothing wrong with that. It's understanding your timeline, and you got to work the timeline
That's very true.
on top of that. Or, it's like, hey, it's, with any skill, like,
Right.
we have a natural things like we can just pick up, but
Right.
other things do not. You just got to, like, okay, your timeline changed. Are you committed to working your timeline?
Right.
And I think that's the biggest thing I can say, rooting it back to the goals 2019. Understand your timeline and be willing to work that timeline throughout the year. So you may want summer abs. You may not see them to the fall. That's
Right.
just the cold truth of it. But any goal you have, you just got to be realistic and working at.
Be willing to work for it.
Yeah, so.
Absolutely. Once again, thank you all for tuning in. It's been another great conversation here with Brendan Taylor and myself, Joseph Young. If you all have questions, please leave them in the comment section of our videos. If you all have topics, things that you want us to touch on, things that you've been confused about, you want us to debunk some myths for you, any doubts that you might have ever had, please let us know, and we'll definitely talk about those things.
One more thing before we close out. Just other goals with the podcast. We do plan on having more guests on here. Going to highlight a lot more people coming up. So if you are interested in doing an interview, feel free to inbox me at Greatest Strength on Instagram, as your Forever Young Fitness _LLC.
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah, on Instagram. Just inquiring about that, but we definitely want to keep the goal of highlighting different people in the community in regards to fitness.
Absolutely. Thank you all again for tuning in. Have a good rest of your day.